Wayne Gretzky's road to pro hockey had a lot of twists and turns. Not only was his father, Walter, his main coach for a number of years, he was sort of, not say mired in controversy. A lot of people felt a player like him, 3 to 4 years younger than his potential teammates, should not be allowed to play. Now, Gretzky had a lot of options between the ages of 12 and 16. He took them all because Walter felt that his best match would be a team or league that he wouldn't have to travel too much, not be caught in the rigors of what he called the CHL grind, where you're treating the players like dogs and making them go every place. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about today a little part of Wayne Gretzky's career that may be kind of new to some, but just a rehash for others. So bear with me. If you know the story, we'll apologize later. But for those who don't know it, something quite interesting. Now, a lot of people know that Gretzky was not drafted in the NHL. He found a path to the WHA in an indirect road. Now, by the age of 10, the Great One had scored an astonishing 378 goals and 139 assists in just one season with the Brantford Nadrowski Steelers. His play attracted media attention beyond his hometown of Brantford, including a profile in the Toronto Telegram in, get this, October of 1971. Now, at the 74 Quebec International Pee Wee Hockey Tournament, Gretzky scored 26 points for a squad from Brantford. By the age of 13, according to statistics, he had scored more than 1,000 goals. Now, his play attracted considerable negative attention from the other players' parents, including those of his own teammates, and he was often booed. According to Walter, the Capper was being booed on Brantford Day at Toronto's Maple Leaf Gardens in February 1974. Now, by 1975, he was just a 14-year-old, and he was ready to play against, again, some of the top junior players. Now, when Gretzky, again, had just turned 14, his family arranged for him to move and play hockey in Toronto, partly to further his career, and partly to remove him from the uncomfortable pressure he faced in his hometown. The Gretzkys had to legally challenge the CAHA to win Wayne the right to play in a different area, which was disallowed at the time. The Gretzkys won, and Wayne played Junior B hockey with the Toronto Nationals in a league that included 20-year-olds. He earned Rookie of the Year honors in the Metro Junior B Hockey League in '76 with 60 points in 28 games. The following year, as a 16-year-old, he had 72 points in 32 games with the same team, who were renamed the Seneca Nationals. Now, despite his offensive statistics, with 132 points in 60 games at Junior B, two squads bypassed him in the 1977 Ontario Major Junior Hockey League draft of 16-year-olds. The Oshawa Generals picked Tom McCarthy first, while the Niagara Falls Flyers picked Steve Peters second overall. When the third pick, the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds selected Gretzky, even though Walter Gretzky had told the team Wayne would not move to Sault Ste. Marie, a northern Ontario city that inflicts a heavy training schedule on his junior team. The Gretzkys eventually made an arrangement with a local family that they knew and Wayne played for the Greyhounds at age 16. It was with the Greyhounds that Gretzky first wore the number 99 on his jersey. He originally wanted to wear number 9 for his hockey hero Gordie Howe, but it was already being worn by teammate Brian Gulazzi. At Coach Buzz McPherson's suggestion, Gretzky settled on the now famous, or depending if you're not a Gretzky fan, infamous number 99. Now we look at the time that was in that junior B to senior program. In 1976, he had 68 points with the Nationals. 77 and 72 points would get to 75 points in the playoffs, including 75 points in the playoffs, including 40 goals in 23 games. Now, 77, he also had a cup of water with the Petes with 3 assists in 3 games. Now, 78 with the Greyhounds, 182 points in 64 games, with 26 points in the postseason. Now, by 79, he found himself in the WHA as the underage signee. and then finished the year with Edmonton, who got to the Avco Cup that year. And again, was not draft eligible to come in because Edmonton had the rights to him fully going into the league. Now, Gretzky at the time, I think around 1974 or 75, it broke inroads not only for players of his age, for other players that came after, and of course women's hockey. There were what I call the Gretzky rule. The rules were changed for Gretzky's, and you're seeing that in junior now, where you're giving what I call excellent status to top junior players in Canada. You're doing that on many levels now. Just because the age of the player doesn't meet the classification. Could a 14-year-old now play with an 18-year-old for hockey? Possibly 14, 15-year-old, but he was like at least 4 years ahead of the curve, because you couldn't touch what you couldn't catch, you couldn't hit him. It was just unbelievable, and he had that what I call seeing eye side. Now, I'm not a big fan of Wayne Gretzky because of his personality, but I can't deny his skills. The man is probably a top 5 athlete in the history of the planet. And the idea, if you take Gretzky out of the equation from the mid-1970s on, where it was being dominated by the Montreal Canadiens, the Boston Bruins, the Flyers, the Maple Leafs, hockey is now a North American and worldwide sensation because Gretzky was on that WHA European style that was so popular, being with the Oilers. He brought that to the NHL, although Sather and Muckler and everybody else, expanded on it. I always saw Gretzky as a European style player because he wasn't there to fight. He's like you said before, I got a puck, go get your own puck. And it's kind of bizarre to say this. I thought Gretzky was going to win 7 or 8 Stanley Cups with Edmonton, and I'm still disappointed he only won 4, because the trade itself, I was a young journalist covering that, I couldn't believe it. He could have went to Toronto. He could have won 3 or 4 cups with Toronto. He almost won the cup with no team really in '93, just Robitaille, Curry, and Filler. But it was Montreal's year. But Wayne Gretzky, if you have a chance to find the old tapes, the grainy tapes of when he was playing with the Nationals, it's quite interesting because you see this figure flying through the players, and at the end you can tell it's Gretzky because he does the pump. But you don't recognize it until he scores. And all of a sudden, I know it sounds kind of bizarre, but Superman has Superboy. Well, Gretzky wasn't Gretzky back then. He was like super, young Gretzky. Young 99, you should have called him. You couldn't deny his talent because he knew where the net was. His father taught him that. But you make it in the Junior B program back in Toronto at the day and Junior A. That was just as good as Major Junior. A very, very talented league, as we say. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the latest Wayne Gretzky podcast. If you like the great one, give us a like, comment, or subscribe. If you'd like to see me to do more podcasts on Gretzky's history or individual events that have occurred in his life, let me know. Give us a like, comment, subscribe. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a certain age, you know Wayne Gretzky as a chocolate bar promoter and a pop promoter. And if you can say in the comments what products he was promoting, let me know, and I'll give you acknowledgement on the next podcast. Thanks for listening. Bye.